But no, Beth, yours goes crashing down. Determination, the suffering, the ability to... And she's unleashed everything in this attack. See just how much that win means to him. All the marvels. Kayla versus Allison, and to the line. Kayla Laguna takes the victory.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to CVRcade Racing. This is the Solo Cup Zone E. If you're just tuning in, you're in luck because we're just starting the broadcast. All right, we've got 4 great races in this Omnium and lots of competitors filling up, warming up on Aquavelo, our low skill event that will kick it off in about 3 minutes. We've got corner caper ability, we have uncrashable ability, we have 1 quantum shift and 1 comeback kid. This is a one-time multiplier race. Up ahead, we've got Rocky Mountains, we've got Water Village and Country Rally with different multipliers and different supers at play, and it's going to be an exciting day for sure. Week 5, my gosh, where does the time go? Week 5, it's really, really heating up. But let's start and by checking in with a couple of the racers this morning. I know we have Quinton warming up, who last week in the Solo Cup just did like 4 Omniums, 3 Omniums, 10 Omniums. Quinton, what a week you've had. How are you feeling today?
Thanks, Beth. Well, I've had quite a busy week after the Tuesday. And I felt it in the Saturday team league. So I don't think there's going to be a repeat this week, not even close.
Well, that you still have people quaking in their cycling shoes. So this first event without the quantum shift as an ability, have you figured out what the best tactic is on this one?
I don't know about best tactic, but I think I found a tactic, well, a state of mind to adapt to in this race. So it's not just a low skill event anymore. It's pretty much just a full-on race. So you got to prepare to suffer like an actual race the whole race long.
Well, good luck to you. We know you're going to bring it in at least one, maybe more today. Let's go ahead and check in with Jeff. Jeff is also coming into our broadcast this morning in Zone E. Good morning, Jeff. How are the legs today? You ready to go rip it up?
I think so. We'll see how we go. They're a little bit sore, but let's bring it. We'll see what happens.
Let's bring it. Just 1 minute to go. We have Rocky Mountains and Water Village. We want to keep those out of your mind. The matter at hand is Aquavelo. Less than a minute. Any tips with this new dynamic, not quantum shift ability?
I don't know. Go hard and get in a good spot and don't get dropped.
That I think can apply to all. That's a good advice. Just over 30 seconds. I'll let you get into that headspace here. Again, this is Aquavelo. This is Zone E of CVRcade Solo Racing. You've been watching the races. We've got Homer out on course here. We've got Ben out on course. We've got Niels out on course. All of our favorites, Ben there from the UK, warming up. Got some tunes going on. I always wonder what music, if any, our friends are listening to. 10 seconds to go out of the gate. Again, corner caper ability, uncrashable ability, 1 quantum shift super, and 1 comeback kid super. Up out of the gate he goes. Out, and you can see out of the saddle there with Niels, applying that extra pressure to the pedals. Again, these racers are on their bikes, using their bikes as controllers to pedal through this virtual environment, and this particular map is called Aquavelo. It is a one-time multiplier across 4 races in this Omnium. So today we have Zone E racing, we have Zone L and K and T. So this is just the first of many races that are happening today in the Solo Cup. On board with Aaron Starlin. You know Aaron from Zone T commentating. He's out here in the racing, feeling what it's like, getting a sense of what the races are going to be like tonight before his broadcast, but also a fierce racer who's come up with his own tactics on these low skill events. Aaron, nice way for the friends at home. He looks pretty relaxed right now. Oh, he's just waking up. I think on his time zone, it's crack of early, crack of yesterday for my friend Aaron here in zone. But he's wearing a smile. That's what I like to see. Happy to see these racers out on this low skill event. It looks like these guys are making it. He's benefiting from the draft there, but you can see Niels here, a little bit of a push on the front here. His watts have come up with Quinton, over 400 equalized watts there. Quinton, Aaron on the front there, Niels, all of these guys in a tight little pack, Ben and Homer. So we've got Niels, Quinton, Aaron, Jeff, Ben, and Homer. And the difference here with this low skill event is that they're not phasing through one another. So that was what you might have been accustomed to seeing if you're used to our CVRcade broadcasts in these low skill events. Typically, the riders will phase through one another on this low skill event. That is not the case in today's event. They are benefiting from the draft. So each of these racers are able to conserve and protect. And they're coming up with a strategy, not on each individual race, but also the race across the Omnium. They need to be thinking, how much am I going to spend in this one low multiplier event? But as we've seen, that sometimes you think that this one might not matter as much, but if you don't capture those points, they will matter further on down on the day. 0.8 kilometers to go here for our front riders here. Ben up out of the saddle there. You can see Quinton and Ben. Quantum Shift Comeback Kid has been activated by Ben. Here's the move. This is it. 0.6 kilometers to go. And it does look like Quinton and Jeff have also answered with their Comeback Kid. Everybody, the screen is lighting up with those Comeback Kids. And again, the Comeback Kids gives you extra power for 45 seconds until you pass that rider in front. Niels still on the front by 3 seconds. Ben 2 seconds back. Quinton on his heels. Jeff right there. 0.4 kilometers to go. This Ben, whoa, he bumps into the back of Niels. Oh, that's a pain. And coming around the outside is Quinton, keeping in that space there. Jeff with his Quantum Shift, phasing through the riders as a super. Jeff takes the lead. 0.2 kilometers to go. Will he continue it? Will Quinton be able to answer it and take it at the line? Quinton, Niels uses his Comeback Kid, but it does look like his strategy takes him to the line. Jeff, Quinton, Niels, 1, 2, 3, Ben, and 4. And that was Jeff saying, go hard and don't get dropped. And he answered. And that is how it went down in the race here. Aaron finishing things off with his Comeback Kid. He's like, it's okay. Oh, it's a low skill multiplier. He's going to bring it in Country Rally. I know it. Here is the replay. Ben, up out of the saddle, initiated the move with the Quantum Shift. May have gone a little early because the other players did have their Quantum Shift supers ready at hand, answered with Quinton and Jeff. Jeff timed his to perfection with the Quantum Shift that actually brought him across the line. And then Ben, it's overtaken by Quinton first, and then Jeff, boom, there he is, comes through. Quantum Shift on the left-hand side of the screen was not enough for Ben to follow. He had used his Quantum Shift. He had benefited from that. And here is what it looked like from Quinton's point of view, using his Quantum Shift to come around Ben. And then this was an interesting way to watch that gameplay happen. And this is Jeff up out of the saddle, coming across the line and taking the W on that first race. Jeff, go fast, go hard, and don't get dropped. It seems like you had a little more strategy there at hand.
Yeah, but now I've got 3 more races to survive. Man, can I just leave it at that? Quit while I'm ahead.
It's always nice to go into the second race of an Omnium on top, but you've got Quinton, Niels, and Ben. That's quite a force to contend with. Nice for you to scoop up the points. What are you thinking here? Going into Water Village, it is a pretty tricky course. Have you practiced it?
A little bit, yeah. Keep the rubber side down. That's the key for this one.
Well, you do have, yes. You do not have uncrashable on this one. Rubber side down. Yes. I'm kind of excited to see how this might be the first time we raced it.
No, I've raced it before, but there was lots of people crashing the first time around. I was one of them. So hopefully I won't be one of them again.
Well, I have a feeling you won't be alone if you are going down. Good luck to you. Let's check in with Quentin, who did take that second spot. Quentin, you came around Ben after he made that move. Did Ben go a little too early, maybe?
I think we all went a little bit too early, except for Jeff. He timed it perfectly. Ben, I think Ben made a mistake by using his quantum shift to try and come through the group to get to the front. If he saved it until he came to Niels, he would have been clear of a block. But yeah, Jeff timed it perfectly.
Yes, that was well done. Coming into Water Village, I think of you as one of the most highly skilled racers on the platform here. Any inside information that you're willing to share about Water Village? Have you practiced it? What's the scoop for you on Water Village?
I have a map open, like right next to me, so I'm gonna be constantly looking at the map. Hopefully, I'll be able to read the corner speeds before I am in the corner. I haven't practiced it yet. I only raced one race on it, so this is going to be the second race. No practice in between, so it's going to be mayhem, I think.
Mayhem. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Good luck to you. I'll let you get back into the mindset. Just going down the board here, we'll check in with Niels, who did take third. Niels, Solo Cup racing here, Water Village. How about you? What's your sense on this track of Water Village?
Yeah, it's quite technical. The first couple of corners are pretty quick compared to the rest of the track. You have a lot of stop and sprint moments, especially around what I would call sector 2 and sector 3. So it's a lot of braking and making sure you have the right corner speeds and being aware of your surroundings, because there might be someone on your outside, and if you're going a little bit too quick, you might slide into them. So there's there are a lot of things to keep in mind on this course.
I was practicing it the other day, and my sense was that, picking your spots, and it's almost one of those ones where you go slow to go fast in a certain sense, but it's a lot of punchy pushes.
Yeah, it's a lot of, it's better to be safe than sorry through the corners, but you need to have some speed for the straights. That is obviously the key to get a good lap on it is to be solo or to really know the corner speeds. So, and then just blast out the corners and brake it all the way down for the corners.
Well, that is some good tips. If people are paying attention, they'd be wise. Good luck to you, Niels, in this next race. Quick note with Ben. Ben, you maybe went a little bit early on the last race. What are you bringing into this race to scoop up some more points? Because this one is a high multiplier.
Yes. Well, I was hoping not to spend too much energy in the first race, but that didn't really go to plan. Just to be super careful on the corners. I've ridden this track a lot, but I've never raced it. So I just have to be super careful not to get carried away with the speed, trying to look at other people and not paying attention to the corners. But I think Niels summed it up nicely. It's going to be super careful on the corners, and then a lot of little sprints to get back up to speed on the straights. So I think it's probably going to be quite tiring.
Quite tiring. 15 seconds to go. Don't want to cut you off. I want to make sure you see the start line there. Welcome to our friends at Channel 1. This is CVRcade solo racing. 9 seconds, the start of Water Village. Highly technical course. It is going to be 7.5 kilometers, 3 laps, 1 corner caper super, 1 quantum shift super. And there they are out of the gates on board here with Jeff Rooney, getting the sprint out of the gate here, making sure he's taking advantage of those first few seconds of quantum shift before you lock in. In the first 10 seconds, you saw that the riders were semi-transparent. They were phasing through each other. That is just allowing them to get into position. These racers are riding their bikes. The bikes have power meters on them. The power is communicated to the game, and their bikes are their controllers. They're moving through this virtual world using their left and right arrow keys. Boom! We just saw someone go down there. That was Phil. Phil, oh, that's going to hurt, but you do have an ability to come back on these ones because people do have to slow down for the corner speed. So be watching the speed differentials of the racers up ahead of you to be knocking down that gap that might form. Right now, Ben in the front. You just heard from Ben about 15 seconds out from this, and oh, Jeff goes down. He did say keep the rubber side down. That is the first corner that really, really can nail you. The first two corners, as Neil said, are pretty fast, but that sector there, it does come down to probably 25, 26 kph. That's okay, Jeff. You're not going to be the first one, or the last one, rather. You might have been one of the first, but you won't be one of the last ones. Now, this is Quentin looking pretty relaxed here. You can see that his watts are down, his power's down a little bit lower, his heart rate's in a good place here, getting comfortable on this course, what we would call a rhythm course here. Quentin, very experienced racer, world champion here, coming in to try to draft the rider in front of him here. Ben at the front, a couple seconds up from Niels and Quentin. And Quentin looks pretty patient right now. Ben looks like he's kind of keeping his eye on everything. There's lots of controls to be watching. They're watching their speed. They're entering a corner. They don't want to crash in the corner, because if they exceed the corner speed, they will crash out, and then they lose about 6, 8, 10 seconds sometimes before they can get back up to speed, depending on where they are on course, and that gap can open up pretty fast. So Ben, 3 seconds ahead of Niels, and then Quentin also with Niels here on the chase here. Now, these two riders here on the chase are not making aggressive moves. I think they're just going to kind of like try to chop away at it and make Ben a little bit nervous, because Ben is setting the pace here at the front. It's his race to lose if he makes a mistake. So you can see him looking around. He's checking his corner speeds. He's making sure that he's not exceeding it. He's trying to break at the right points here. Some of these corners are 34 kph. Some of them are 27 kph. And this is where the recon that you do on the map is so important here. Back on board with Niels here. Back on board. Niels is really looking focused here. He can see his point of view here. All of these camera angles that the riders can use help give them visuals here. He can see Ben up the way. He's just like a shark, dun 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 dun, coming up, using the straightaway to add a little bit of power to try to make up those microseconds, knowing that Ben is going into the corner and going to need to slow down. And you can see that there's about a 3-second gap between them here. So here on this part, when we go to the dirt, the rolling resistance on the map changes a little bit here, but the corner is much more forgiving. This is one point you can see Ben up out of the saddle, knows this is a point where Niels and Quentin they're going to have an opportunity to close. The power is up 400 equalized watts, does not want, the speed is up 45 kph, does not want to give Niels or Quentin a chance to close it down. Still holding that 3-second lead coming into the corner here. Quentin coming on the heels here of Niels, and they are almost done with lap 1. Back onto the pavement in Water Village here, and they are about to come to lap 1. This last corner here is one of the ones you can see up the way there. Ben just made his way through, and this is one where you do, I kind of felt something like that happening here. That is an example, Channel 1, of someone just sliding out and sliding into an occupied lane, and that is the danger. We heard Niels talk about that at the beginning of the race, that it's possible to slide out. So you might not exceed the corner speed. You might slide out a little bit, but you actually have to go under the slide out speed. So these racers are not only thinking about what corner am I in, they're also thinking about the corner maximums and then the maximums by which you would slide out. So back on board with Aaron Starling, Zone T commentator Aaron Starling. is making his way around the map. This is one of the first times we've raced this one, and he's chopping away at some time here. Homer here also trying to close that up to Aaron. Homer Thompson races a couple omniums on these solo cups. He races in the team league. He races in the Derny League. The Derny that happens on Thursday is quite exciting with these racers combining physical and non-physical riders, and that's on Thursday. But today, it's all about the physical riders. It's all about these racers in the solo cup, mano a mano, back and forth here. You can see Jeff there coming on the heels of Homer, watching this corner. That was the point of danger where Jeff lost it on the first lap. It looks like he navigated that corner just fine, so he knows the mistake he made, and he was not going to repeat it here. On lap 2 with Niels in second position, just 4 seconds back from Ben. He can see Ben up the way, and I think that Ben is being very cautious. I'm looking at Ben's heart rate. He looks pretty comfortable. He's up into the yellow, and so from that perspective, he's not into the red yet. But I know he needs to save some. Same thing with Niels. He's a little bit higher. He's probably got that adrenaline of not wanting to make a mistake, trying to make up those 2 or 3 seconds gaps. His heart rate's a little bit higher, trying to make up that gap. So up out of the saddle, here's one of the spots on this course. If you were to look at the map on the lower right-hand side of your screen, you can see these corners. They have to speed up on the straightaways and maybe slow down a little bit more, and that is the skill. And this hasn't been raced extensively like some of our other maps. This is one of our newer maps that we're racing on without the uncrashable ability, and just 2 supers, 1 corner caper and 1 quantum shift. Corner caper will allow you to exceed, will protect you in the corner so you won't crash out, and 1 quantum shift. And if I had to guess where those would be used, it would be the finishing corner is pretty tight, but sometimes people will use that corner caper in a different spot to overtake a competitor. When they know their competitor is slowing down, they activate that corner caper so they can just blast through the corner and mount an attack. So if I were Ben, that would be one of the things I'd be thinking about is when is that attack going to come? Niels might not wait till the finishing sprint. One of the things that we've seen with Niels as well as Quinton, both of those racers kind of pioneer some moves that we might not have seen before. And once they do it and you say, oh, that was a really good idea, other people try to emulate it. But like anybody with talent, emulating those moves, seeing those moves, recognizing those moves, and replicating those moves is not an easy task. Up out of the saddle here, again, in the gravel, the rolling resistance on this map changes here, and this is where you can really open it up. 600, 700 equalized watts by Ben, blasting it out. Niels trying to answer as well. Still a 4-second gap. Both of those heart rates now in the red. Boom. This is the lap 2 here. This is where Ben is trying to solidify that gap, trying to make sure that he puts the hurt on it. If Niels is going to close down those 5 seconds, he's going to need to do it with perfection. He's going to need to do it with power, and playing this map is what he needs to do. I want to keep you guys engaged here in the chat here. I'm going to go to some of our comments here. Who do you like in this race? I see we have Lance Roll in there. We have DK Munsuni. Ben has been flawless. He has Jesper. Jesper's in the chat. Thanks for joining us this morning here. Gaming 102, thanks for joining us. DK Mansuni says, go Jeff, you can do it. So what would you look up if you wanted the device they're using to do this? Gaming 102 will give you the whole lowdown. You can go to CVRcade and you can take a look at all the different options to play the game, but you can play non-physically today by downloading the game at CVRcade.com. 2.1 kilometers to go here, on board with Quinton, who's just he was saying that he did some long riding yesterday. He also was like the destroyer. We like to call Sebastian the destroyer, but he was the destroyer in the solo cup last week. So he is maybe taking a more of a recovery week today, but still, this is the thing about Quinton. A recovery week for Quinton means third in a very technical race so far, but it is not over for Quinton because Niels and Ben can make a mistake. With 1.8 kilometers to go, we're going to start to see the pressure get onto Ben. We're going to see, what they can bring here. Can Ben hold off Niels? He's got 6 seconds on Niels right now with 1.7 kilometers to go. You can see this course also allows for some variation in terms of their heart rates are going up when they're able to push, and then they're coming back down a little bit. So when these athletes are working on this, it's not just about the skill. It's not just about being able to apply pressure. It's about being able to like punch it, recover, punch it, recover. Punch it, recover. I see that Jesper's answering some of those questions in the chat. Jesper, thank you. Knighton for his what type of trainer matters? Let's go, says Neo TV. Lancerl, let's go, Jeff. Gotta pass Quinton, says Lancerl. Thank you, Mixer Chat, for being a part of our broadcast today. Looks like Niels did make a crash. Oh, that's gonna hurt. Oh, I was just saying a mistake can happen. That might open the door for Niels, for Quinton to overtake Niels. Quinton is super relaxed. He can see Niels up ahead. A little bit of punch here. He's like, my legs can answer it. This is a 2.5 multiplier. If I can go make Niels nervous and force another mistake, I might be able to take him over and get even more points here on this 2.5 multiplier here. Water Village. Again, 1 super, 1 corner caper, 1 quantum shift. I haven't seen them use those. Jeff does look like he uses his corner caper down here, trying to make up some speed here, not having to slow down. Just expired on the edge, Jeff, on the edge. Oh my gosh. And here's Niels with his super activated corner caper coming around the corner, able to take advantage of the speed, and it does expire before this tricky corner. So he does have to slow down here so that he doesn't make a mistake. He's trying to make up some of that time that he lost on his crash using the speed, but it does look like Ben up the road by more than 10 seconds with 0.6 kilometers to go. Ben has to just finish consistently and strong. Here is the place where he can even open up that gap a little bit more, but he's probably measuring his effort. He's doing the calculus on how far back. He's got 15 seconds on Niels, 0.4 kilometers to go. For Ben, he's done a flawless race. He needs to finish it flawlessly. Niels in second. It doesn't look like Quinton has yet made up that 10 seconds to Niels. So if Ben finishes this will put him on top for after 2 races in this 4-race Omnium. And it does look like 0.1 kilometers ago. He knows this tight corner is coming. I don't believe he's used his corner caper. He may use it, he may not. But this has been coming across the line. For the win. Big smile on his face. He's like, I'm not even going to use that corner caper. I don't need it, man. I'm good. Yes, he's pointing to the Hive shirt, a little bit off camera there. We got to straighten out that camera so we can see it. But this is solo racing. He was pointing to his shirt. We have, here we see Niels coming across the line. Well fought out for Niels. One mistake made that gap insurmountable. He held that gap back on board here with Quinton, who was just a few seconds back from Niels. And I think if I was Quinton, when he knew he couldn't close down the gap, he's going to save his legs for some of the upcoming races here. And then Jeff here, who had a couple mistakes, but he did manage to pull out 4th ahead of Aaron, Homer, and Phil. Jeff's going to come across the line, and that is going to be our 4th place racer. Well done, Jeff. I actually was very impressed with the amount of few crashes that I saw. Everyone had a few mistakes, but of course, Ben, talk me through that race. Ben, you dominated from the start.
Yeah, well, I think at the start it was a case of trying to get near the front but not be on the front, which is what most people try to do. And unfortunately, I ended up on the front. So I just thought, just try and take the corners as fast as I can and see if anyone's still behind me. And I think with not many people, it really was a sort of solo effort for everyone, really. So taking care on the corners and just trying to get maximum speed in between the corners and on the straight rough section was key, really. So I thought, I got a bit of a gap, keep plugging away. So yeah, really pleased. Yeah, can't do better than that. It didn't even feel like I spent that much energy on that race. So yeah, much better than the first.
Well, I did at one point notice that your heart rate was pretty low. You looked pretty comfortable. So you had a lot of confidence on that course. Was that from your practicing?
I think so. I have ridden it a lot, like I said, and I've got a very detailed map of the corners. So I think the cornering wasn't an issue. There's one corner where I was almost going too fast, but it was okay. But actually, you know, there's so many slow sections, you do get a bit of a rest on the slower parts. So I was trying to rest up as much as I could and really blast it on the fast sort of bends, and it worked. So yeah, super pleased.
Well, congratulations, Ben. So it means it sounds like you saved some up for Rocky Mountain. I'm going to check in with Niels quickly here. Niels, you held the gap with Ben within 4 seconds for most of that race. So talk me through what happened.
What basically happened was, what I noticed was that Ben was pulling away on the dirt bit, which was which was a good move because obviously the surface is rougher, so you will have more rolling resistance. But my plan was to get closer through the corners and put a bit of pressure on him. Eventually, I managed to do that to myself, which it wasn't quite the plan. When I went down, I just braked into the corner, but I tapped a little too late. And then when I went through the corner, I held the brake. And for people that don't know, what that means is that you will basically get a lot of understeer and slide out of the corner. So yeah, that probably wasn't the smartest maneuver, but still managed to finish second. So Quinton managed to finish third. So all in all, good effort by Ben and by us, I think.
Well, congratulations to you. Coming into Rocky Mountain, have you saved some up? Rocky Mountain, just one lap, uncrashable as an ability, one inertia. It's going to be a fast and hard race, I have a feeling.
Yeah, it's a fun course. It's one long climb, which isn't that steep, but it's a bit undulating. You'll have a section that are a bit flatter, your section that are a bit steeper. Gets a bit flatter towards the top, but then you have a small kick near the end. So yeah, it will be an interesting race, especially because we normally race in this course for 2 laps instead of 1 lap. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. And obviously you have a final race left. So we're interested to see what people will save up and what people will spend on this course.
Well, good luck to you. Just under 2 minutes to get started. I'll let you get your head back in the game. Congratulations on that race. Quinton, quick check-in here with you. Coming into Rocky Mountain, you had just that one mistake there. It looked like I thought you were going to close and maybe even overtake Niels after his mistake.
Yeah, the mistake that I made was due to the map not being accurate. So I'm blaming Niels for that because he's in charge for it. So I think that was planned all along from Niels. But when he crashed, I didn't want to pressure him anymore and make him make another mistake. I mean, we don't really fare well with it anyway. The plan was, well, I thought that the plan was what Niels actually tried to execute, was trying to put pressure on Ben and make him make a mistake. But once I saw I had a comfortable gap on fourth and Niels was ahead of me by a few seconds, I figured I'm not going to spend more energy than I need to and just keep third.
Well, very strategic, very well played. 45 seconds to go to the next race. Good luck to you, Quinton. We'll keep it here. We won't check back into the riders. We'll let them save their breath here. As we know, on Rocky Mountain, 1 lap, uncrashable ability, 1 inertia. This is going to be a hard race. As you heard Niels say, there is a climb here. You can see there on the leaderboard, Ben is at the top, Niels, Quinton, Jeff. You can see the points there. This is this multiplier. This last race was a 2.5 multiplier, and this one is a medium skill 2-time multiplier. Here we are, 765 seconds to become out of the gate. Quantum shift in the first 10 seconds for lane position. Ben spinning it up out of the saddle, said he did save some legs from that previous race. He said it was a little bit easier than he thought, and I think that has to do with the way that map reads. You have a lot of corners that you do need to slow down for, so you do need to race it smart. But this one is going to be an all-out affair. I can see in here, Jesper, yes, I'm excited to see that it should be all out. I'm expecting it to be all out, just one lap on this race. Now, I know Zone E, week 5, we've got Zone K and L coming up later on today, 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock on New York City Eastern with the daylight savings time is what we'll be racing, as well as 10 p.m. New York time later on today. So I know that the racers in the Solo Cup that are racing in those zones later on, you should tune in to see it. I know those racers are going to be taking notes about how they want to apply the strategy across these 4 races. Where can they save? Where can they get the most points? How can they force mistakes out of their competitors to maximize their points? Where are they going to make their moves here? Niels comes on to the inside of Ben here on board with Jeff, who is saying, I am going to take some points here. This is a course that I enjoy. Jeff is up over 400 equalized watts. His heart rate there is coming up, hanging on with the pack. Niels on the front. Ben second, Quentin and Phil. Phil, welcome. I saw you earlier in the broadcast. I want to give you a big shout out. Thanks for joining the racing here in Zone E. I'm not sure I've had you in Zone E, so welcome to the racing. Great job, Phil. Love to see the new racers out here. And I know you're not new to the game, but you might be new to Zone E. So just a shout out for joining here. Go kill it in Rocky Mountain. It's one of my favorite courses. It does feel like, that 5-minute climb. I've timed it like bridge to bridge, not in a massive effort, but I'm just like, if I can just kill it, as much as I can for 5 or 6 minutes and get over the top and try to get that speed differential, you can. Beth, did you read the question of DK? When are you going to try out a controller on Mint? Hey, Wim, I didn't see that comment, but as I'm scrolling through reading and talking and trying to have my mouth say words that are different than what I'm reading, I did do a journey a couple weeks ago. I had a little situation arise that I couldn't do the journey on Thursday last week. I hope to do the journey this week and do it on controller, and it's a whole different experience, and so I'm going to have fun with that. So thanks for checking in. So DK says, I've changed my setup on my controller after Saturdays. I've changed the camera view a few times by mistakes. Oh, that happens. That happens. All right, so here you can see Niels up out of the saddle here, holding the front. Ben tucked in behind Niels, Quentin behind, and then they're kind of a little bit strung out here. Phil, Quentin, Jeff did drop back just by a few seconds on this. He's hanging back with Homer, but Ben and Niels here duking it out for 1 and 2. If Niels does take some points here from Ben will still be on top, but it'll be like by 2 points. So these guys, it's so close. The point spread, it keeps bouncing around a little bit, but Niels, Ben, and Quentin, 1, 2, 3, Jeff for the day so far in race 3 of 4 in the Solo Cup Racing Zone E. So Rocky Mountains is a course that on the backside there are some twists and turns. We need to they need to try to get to those and still put the power down. It is not like you climb up the climb and then coast down the hill. You do need to keep the pressure on the entire way. Jeff can see those riders up in front of him, and he knows that he can probably close that down. He's calculating how much he wants to spend to do it. Phil just closes in there. You can see Homer, smile on his face here, fresh shaven. Homer had the beard through the winter, through the holiday season, maybe getting to think about going outside and not having that beard resistance in the wind. I'll have to ask him specifically, but it's good to see Homer. Always a big smile on his face, always having fun, always in the mix. And as he said to me the other day, you come out here and you play, you have fun, and if you don't come out and play and have fun, you don't have a chance at winning. So he is just coming out, having a good time, but always a monster. This is one course that we've seen Homer do really well on board here with Quentin, closing the gap, moves around Phil here and does see the rider. He does want to close down that gap maybe and take the wheel of the rider in front of him and try to benefit from the draft here. Quentin, he as he did say, he's been killing it week over week over week. And one of the things about Quentin is his ability to recover. This is something that comes from training, is his ability to recover here. Ben and Niels fiercely on the front, side by side here on your screen. Ben on the left, Niels on the right here. You can see their point of view. Ben's got that helicopter. He's watching what's going on here, making sure that he can kind of keep a track of all of the riders around him. Now, he doesn't have Uncrashable on, but Niels there, he might be in a position here to pull away if Ben gets caught sleeping there. Ben just makes a lane move, does not want to be caught behind the racers here. Uncrashable is an ability, so these guys aren't going to jam into one another. They can just make their lane change and get where they want to be. But as if on cue, Ben says, I am not going to get caught behind. I am not going to let, whoa, there it is, both of them. I don't even know. This is solo racing. They both just happen to have the same idea of strategy, that they're going to try to get as much speed, pop that inertia, take that, 10-second micro rest. So inertia will lock you into the speed that for 10 seconds that you were traveling when you activate that super. So they both used it at that one little time. There's a little bit of a flat before you come to this last little bunch up the climb. This last little punch, would have been a good opportunity to try to get away, but they both used that inertia at the same time, got the micro rest. You can see Ben closing on Niels, using the wheel and tapping in. So one of the skills here also on CVRcade in the game is being able to draft efficiently. It's not just enough to be behind the rider. The closer you can get to that wheel without touching, the more draft that you have. And the more draft that you have, the more efficient you can ride, so you can save. But it doesn't look like anybody right now is caring about the draft, because Ben was just up out of the saddle, almost 600 equalized watts. Niels right behind him. So the two of these guys playing a little bit of game of who has what legs left, and then who's going to save some legs for the next race, because the next race is Country Rally. The next race is going to require not only legs, but the mental acumen to avoid all the obstacles, the high skill 2.5 multiplier event. And I just a correction here. Earlier I said Rocky Mountains was a 2 times multiplier. This is just a 1.5 times multiplier. So I apologize for that mistake. But 1.5 multiplier on this race, if everyone finishes in the position that you see right now, Niels 1, Ben 2, Phil 3, they keep switching back and forth. They're going to be just a few points, like Ben on top by 2 points, and then depending on these secondary positions are also going to matter. So if Phil takes some points away from Niels, that can help Ben. Everybody's and then Jeff is a little bit further down. So this is these are 3 people that all have a chance to disrupt what's going on in that very close leaderboard. So Phil right now is playing a pretty important role, trying to get as many points for himself, but at that time actually affecting the other 2 racers and perhaps stealing some points from them that they're both going to have to try to make up for in Country Rally if he overtakes them. So this is going to be an exciting finish, actually, because anything can happen. Because the jeopardy is not going to be someone crashing. The jeopardy is going to be who has the legs in the sprint. Ben comes around the corner, gives a little bit of a dig there, 400 equalized watts, 178 on his heart rate. Phil is also up there in the 180s. You can see they're into the red on their heart rates here. So they are all digging themselves into that hole. Ben, 600 equalized watts. Phil, 600 equalized watts. These guys are answering it. And if they are making it look, you can see the effort, but they actually have this composure about them that when I'm giving that type of an effort, I am red-faced and just like a sweat monger. These guys are are showing the muster of their training here. They're showing the muster of their ability on the earlier courses, and to be able to race this hard race. 1 kilometer to go. It does look like Ben did get a couple second gap on Quinton and Phil. Here we go. Like, Niels has dropped back. Niels maybe is deciding he doesn't want to fight that hard for it, or maybe he has something up his sleeve here. 0.7 kilometers to go. Niels a couple seconds back. Looks like he might be stopping. Quinton coming around here, looking strong. His heart rate is massive. So if Quinton comes around and takes these points away, Quinton moves up to second and pops Niels down to third. So this is a really exciting thing that's happening right now, where these racers, this disruption of points here, at what looked like between Ben and Niels in the front now looks like Quinton is going to have something to say about it. And Phil has taken off to the front. Phil is like, guys, I don't want to sprint you. I just want to make you tired, and I'm going to take points from all of you. So with that disruption, Ben would still maybe be on top. But here we are, Ben side by side with Ben and Quinton here. Phil taking the Quinn, it looks like Phil has come across the line here. Ben, Quinton. Oh, Niels is gonna come around. Does he take it? Does Niels take it away from Quinton? Phil did take it on the line, and I think Niels took the points from Quinton. He did, and then here's Homer with that smiling, with loving this course, having a good time out on course. I know Homer. I rode with him yesterday. This is one of his favorite courses. Big smile. Well done, Homer. Thanks for coming out today. And I think everybody here in CVRcade appreciates. Back to the replay here. Quinton here. Let's check in. We don't have Phil on the broadcast, but let's check in with Ben with that Duke Fest. Ben.
Yeah, that was.
Did that end the way that you expected it to end?
No, I hadn't realised the finish line was so close when it was. If I checked the counter, I would have seen that it was very close, but I didn't. So that was a mistake on my part at the end there. But I thought maybe Niels and I could work together as a break from the start. That seemed to work for a couple of Ks, but then I'm not sure what happened. I don't know if Niels and Quinton were discussing tactics, trying to bring Quinton back. So yeah, it was a tough race. Spent too much energy for the result, unfortunately, but still in the lead by Whisker, I see.
You are. 0.5 keeps you at the top above Niels. Niels at the line there did cost you coming into Country Rally. You've got to be in it to win it. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. It's definitely not one of my favorite tracks, this one. So I don't know what it is. Even when I don't crash, I don't know what happens. So we'll see. If I can, just stay ahead of Niels, that's my main target, and see where that takes me.
Well, good luck to you on Country Rally. I do want to check in with Niels. Niels, it looked like at one point you were going to, Ben had a couple second lead on you, and then you came back and you surprised him at the line. You came and overtook both of them and stole some points there. Was that a part of your plan?
No, that came from a very, very dark place, that sprint, put it that way. It was... So the plan was on the course to get away at the start, and I had that with Ben, and I thought it would work very well. But I saw Quinton and Phil coming back, and I thought, well, 4 is better than 2 to work together, so I thought they would come on the front. So I decided, and then noticed that they came back, but they were a bit on the elastic band, as you would call it, and then decided to, well, might as well go solo up the final kick. Popped the inertia and was not sure if to use it there or when Quinton used it, but basically made a decision to maintain the gap, see who comes with me, and take the initiative on the descent. And it sort of worked, but then sort of I basically reached my limit a bit. So I had to calm her down, and then Ben went at the end S's and then S's, sorry. Then I saw Quinton coming back with the inertia, which was a pretty good move, to be honest. And I saw them coming back together, and then thought, well, there's still a chance here. And I think Phil was able to go away because they were still looking at each other. And I thought, well, might as well use that. So basically just full on send it down the descent in order to maybe get to them and maybe overhaul them. And luckily that worked.
Well, that was really a dramatic finish. I think you surprised everybody, and to come around that last bend. So that dark place is a strong place, Niels. Well done. Well done to you. Coming into a country rally, you've raced this before. Great responsibility, inertia, path of least resistance. That's kind of some crazy supers on this course. What do you think?
Yeah, great responsibility is a bit like putting a jet engine on a bike. It's and inertia is quite a funny one. And I'm path least resistance. I'm not really a fan of it because you can't really use it through a twisty bit. You can only use it on straight, because when you go through corners, due to the fact that you have lesser rolling resistance, you will slide out because your base will have no grip. So that is a pretty hard one to use at times, but I guess we can find a place for it.
Well, good luck to you. Just over a minute to race. Quick check-in with Quinton, who's sitting in third. Good luck to you, Niels. Quinton, quick check here. You are 9 points away from Niels and 9.5 away from the top spot here. How you feeling going into country rally? We've got under a minute.
I'm feeling tired, but I'm feeling confident. I know that I can win this race. Well, I know that I can win on this track, so I have a good feeling about it. Yeah, let's go.
All right. Well, I'll ask you post-race about the use of your supers. Just over 30 seconds to go. Good luck to you. I'm excited about this race. It's kind of going to be insane. I see in the chat here, let's just shout this out here. Jesper says, Ben, Niels, Quinton, Jeff, who wins the overall? Lantrell says Ben. Jesper says Quinton. DK Mansuni says first, and Ben second. Q's going to win by 0.5 of a point. Jesper says that's a bold call. Mixer chat. Chip says go Quinton. 8 seconds. Chip. Yep. Yo. All right. 3, 2, 1. Ben up out of the saddle again. The use of supers in this race is going to be interesting to watch because they're unusual for this type of a map. Path of least resistance, as you heard Niels say, it makes it kind of slippery. It changes the rolling resistance. You don't want to use it on the twisty parts. Jeff up out of the saddle. Jeff, who is in second position at the moment, coming into the corner. Everybody here looks like they don't have, they're going to be able to clear that barn door here. Phil in third, who did win Rocky Mountains on that last race, is not on stream, but Phil is showing he has come out to play. Jeff there, as well, staying on the outside line of those hay bales. So if you are just tuning in to watch us, this is CVRcade World Cup Racing Zone E. We have some new welcome BMFNO1. That's a long one for me to have to say. This is the fourth race of a 4-race Omnium in Zone E. We're going to be doing these all over again, K and L and T, and in New York City time, that is 1, 2, and 10 p.m. So we are broadcasting all over the globe, so do check the time clock to find out the time in your neighborhood. Ben, on the front here, this is going to be a close race. Coming into the race, 0.5 points separated Ben and Niels, and then Phil coming up here to the front in second place behind Ben, coming into the logs, minding his lane. Oh, Phil! Oh, that is a tough spot there. That crash, you know, we've all crashed on those logs, and then once you do one, you kind of do another because your brain goes beep, beep, boop, boop, and it all kind of, at least my brain goes beep, 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 boop. Other people have different sound effects, but that's mine. Ben in the front, looking relaxed and comfortable here. Back onto the dirt here, coming into the barn door on lap 2. Neil's 3 seconds behind. So this is, of course, with 5 laps to go. We've heard people talk about the strategy on these high skill courses with the obstacles, with the danger of crashing into the corner. The key is to get in front early and force the mistakes of those on the chase. And this is the strategy that we saw Ben undertake on Water Village as well. He said that he wasn't necessarily thinking about being in the front, found himself in the front, decided to hold the front, and when people were chasing him, namely Niels and Quinton, some mistakes were made and they weren't able to close it down. So Ben is looking really good in this race, 3 seconds ahead of Niels, and Niels is just maintaining his calm. He said he went to a dark place on Rocky Mountain to overtake. He needed to do that to get within that 0.5 points to Ben. So he did come around at the end and he did spend some there. So this one, Country Rally, you think when you get to it, you're like, oh, it's just 5 laps on Country Rally. It's only 6 kilometers. But this is a hard course. This is where Ben uses his path of I can't say it, easy for you to say, path of least resistance. Path of least resistance changes the rolling resistance. And if you do use it in a twisty part, you will slide out because it's like being on a skating rink. And Niels has gone down. Oh, he just used it too late. So he used it in the same spot, but he had one little twist and it expired just a beat where he didn't want it to. Opens up the gap. Ben opens up the gap to 5 seconds. What was 3 seconds is now 5. And then Quinton, as you heard him say in the pre-interview say, I know I can win on this map. And he does know how to win on this map. I have been side by side with Quinton, and he has forced a mistake. I think just being in his aura can force a mistake because you're like, what is he planning? What's he going to do? What's he going to do? So when you're racing Quinton, you have to stay focused on your race and almost you know, you need to have an awareness, but you can't let Quinton get in your head. 2 seconds from Ben to Quinton here. So we did see a path of least resistance being deployed by Ben. I'm not sure if Quinton did use his yet. So we are coming with 2.8 kilometers to go. This is lap 2. 3 more laps to go once they come across the line. So we'll see. I mean, anything can happen with 2.7 kilometers to go in just 3 seconds. Ben has to race his race, stay calm, and make Quinton do the work to try to close it down. Jeff is just 3 seconds. Excuse me, Jeff and Phil are just about 3 seconds back. Whoa, there is, boom! Ben and Quinton both with the wow 1-2 punch from Ben there. He used greater responsibility and inertia back to back, sliding out, but no! That is the mistake that Quinton was waiting for. Said, dude, that's not the place to use it. Oh, that's gotta hurt. He loses those 6 seconds, comes down, and that would put Quinton on top. So if Ben can make it back, make up those 8 seconds to Quinton, that was this mistake that happens. And I'm pretty sure that Ben methodically did 1-2 on the on the super combo. There was first great responsibility, got up to speed, then executed inertia, had too much speed going to that corner. And that's the corner before the barn door, where that's the one that usually the people worry about. So I think he just might have had a miscalculation on that, but trying to make that up. Quinton looking relaxed. Again, Quinton gets in your head and he can force a mistake and overtake you just like that. And this means that Quinton, if he finishes here with 1.5 to go, he can still make a mistake. 1.5 kilometers to go. He will be finishing on the leaderboard just a half a point in front of Ben. Holy Holy crap! Oh my God, it's so close. Oh, so let's see. Going back, Lantrell says, "Oh no." Q has this now. Says Chip. Go Q, says Chip. Scooby Lane. Thanks, CVR World Cup. DK Ben, it wasn't you who should prove me right. I have to go back up into the chat and say that was what we were having people call there. Quinton used his inertia here. That is the space. This is where it expired for him. He played it a little bit sooner. He just opened it up and sealed the deal and said, 8 seconds isn't enough. My strategy all along was to use the inertia on the fourth lap. Maybe that's not true, but he just opened up the gap. And it's kind of like the authoritative move there by Quinton saying, I'm just going to open it up ever so more because I can. So Quinton in the front, 0.7 kilometers to go. Ben in second. Homer comes around for third there. Like Homer did overtake Niels. Niels dropping back. Jeff coming down. And I think what it is here, Homer is on this rhythm course, having a good day. We did actually practice this one yesterday in Rise and Rip. So we had a good time with that. 0.4 kilometers to go. Homer knows this track. He knows how to ride it. Going to take probably third on the race if he stays ahead of Niels, as long as he's not making a mistake. Here with Ben coming around the final bit of the little bit of the bridge, a couple bends, and then it will be the log alley. 0.2 kilometers to go for Quinton. Quinton is up out of the saddle, taking some breath in, opening up his rib cage here, letting the oxygen flow in, hopefully getting to those muscles after a massive week of racing. And if you know anything about racing, coming through the logs in the open lane, pointing to his team affiliation. This is solo racing, but he all these racers are showing their team pride when they're racing solo as well. Ben here with a strong showing today. One mistake cost him 0.5. I don't want to even say it out loud. I feel like I'm Homer up out of the saddle. Strong finish on this the country rally, third place. And then Niels comes through for fourth on country rally. Jeff just a few seconds back. And, if you guys were to look at these lap times, you can go in the game and you can see the lap times. And these guys are like killing it. It's easy for me to sit here and be like, oh, but I'll be racing this later. And I've been taking copious notes. Let's go in, check in with Quinton, who did just win on country rally. Quinton, congratulations. That means the omnium. You just kept taking points. Congratulations.
Thank you. I didn't expect that one. I feel bad for crashing Niels right there. I think I could have avoided it, but I mean, he used his path police resistance a little bit later than I did, and I think that's the thing that crashed him.
Well, yeah, I think that he had too much speed in that corner, and that's one corner I think people don't take. They don't necessarily do the calculus. They're thinking about the next. Did you expect when you came in? You were saying you were tired. Is this how you expected it to go?
No, I did not for one bit. Actually, up until I saw Ben use inertia when he did, I knew he was going to crash. I knew it was going to. It was over 60 an hour, and I knew that bend you need to be under 60. So I knew he was going to slide out, because even if the inertia would deactivate a few minutes before it did, he would have had to brake, and then the current speed would be even lower. So he would have crashed anyway.
Well, it was some brilliant racing. As I said in the broadcast, I'm not sure you were listening. Like when you're coming up, you can get in a racer's head, and I think you got in Ben's head. But I'm not going to speak for Ben because Ben is on the broadcast. Congratulations, Q. Ben is on the broadcast. Ben,
yeah.
Talk to me, my friend.
Well, I mean, I knew it was always going to be close. To do the double power up on that corner. Well, on that straight, but I hadn't practiced it, and I was hard on the brakes, but the inertia was still on. So fair play. Q knows the tracks better than anyone else out there, really. So fair play. I think I'm a bit disappointed, but the legs felt good today. I like the midday sessions. So legs felt good. I had fun. Putting the hammer down and making other people hurt as well. So that was good fun. It's just a shame about that crash. But I'll be back. I'll be back later today. So we'll see what happens.
Well, what are you going to take into later today? I mean, you couldn't have been more flawless on Water Village. Obviously you won't repeat the mistake on Country Rally. Any other learnings that you're going to bring into the Omniums? Because other people, your competitors, are going to be taking notes, like myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Two Omniums are the same, and generally the next two zones have more races in them, so that definitely changes the dynamics of most races. I think Water Village will probably be the same sort of story, because with so many technical corners, you don't really get much opportunity to sort of ride as a group. So I think that might be a sort of similar outcome, but more competitive. And then, race number 1 is going to be tough. I think I really need to try and save some energy during race number 1, because with more people, that race can be really tough and can take a lot out of you right at the start of the Omnium, which is not really what you want to do. Lessons learned for sure.
Well, congratulations. Well fought out there. Just a half a point. I know that you'll come back with a fever in the next zone. So good luck to you. Let's check in with Niels. Niels, you were duking it out with Ben on nearly every race. You overtook him in Rocky Mountain to steal some points. Talk me through the Omnium today. You ended up on the 3rd step there. Congratulations. Describe the day.
First attempt went all right. Not much to say about that, really. Second event, I could have probably done without a couple of mistakes, maybe pushed a little harder out of the corners and through the corners. And the 3rd race, well, maybe should have used the inertia later or pulled a bit harder here and there. But I'm happy about it. Last event I'm not happy about. That was I just blew it. That's the other way to put it. Maybe what Quinton said, I popped the path resistance a bit too late. He was on my side, and the thing with, like I said, with path resistance is you will slide out because you have no grip. So that was sort of my mistake. And then I think the lap after that, I carried a little bit of speed into turn number 4, the second left-hander, before the barn door, and that just threw me off. And after that, I still got on 3rd, which is good, I reckon, but lots of things to learn from this one. This wasn't good.
Well, will you be racing more zones today, or was this the one and done for you, Niels?
I'm not sure yet. I'll have to see I still have a couple of other things to do, so I'm not sure yet, but probably, yeah. I'm not sure where it'll be KOL, but I'll see you later today.
Well, great showing. I appreciate being in the broadcast. Great racing. We have Jeff on stream. Jeff, and you got the 4th place today. A couple mistakes. I know this isn't your usual zone. Great to have you in the broadcast. Talk me through your day. Like, what was your high points, and what would you do if you were to race it over again?
Oh, race 1 was definitely the high point. All downhill.
Yeah, well, right. Yes. Taking the W right out of the race of the Omnium is super awesome.
I come into it with a little bit of tired legs, so sort of hoping they'd loosen up, but it went the other way. In Water Village, the first mistake was I was getting the draft. I practiced it solo, got the draft, went too fast. The second crash, I was coming into the corner and braking, and of course that reduces your corner speed, and that's why I crashed. And then the 3rd crash was my doubting the corner caper. If I had held my speed, I would have got through that 3rd corner safely. But I was looking at it going, oh no, it's going to run out, and started braking, and so that was my own fault. And I didn't even have the legs to stay with everyone for the rest of the races. So that was some good racing. That was fun. Learned a bit, I think.
Well, yeah, no, and I think too that like that corner caper, how long it will last for, you can practice it, and then if you're just going a slightly different speed, it's going to expire at a slightly different time. So nice effort there.
Yeah, I shouldn't have questioned myself.
Well, it's always the mental part, right? That's the part. Well, will we see you later today, or are you one and done?
I'll be on. I'll be nowhere near the front end, but I'll come back and have a roll around. So have a bit of fun. Fantastic. Yeah. Look forward to seeing you later on today. Congratulations. Nice effort here. We also have Homer. If he's still in the broadcast, check in with our friend Homer. Homer, thanks for joining us. Oh, looks like he stepped away. No worries, Homer. We may or may not see him later in the broadcast. We had Aaron also in the broadcast. We had Phil. Phil, massive effort on Rocky Mountains. That was so great to see. It looked like you were making your way also in Country Rally, learning that track, and just that one crash, and it kind of unraveled from there. Been there, done that. Don't let it get you down. You kicked butt today. Happy to see you out there. This has been CVRcade Solo Cup Racing Week 5. We've got more broadcasts in just about 5 hours for Zone K, Zone L, and then later on tonight, Zone T. And I know Aaron will be broadcasting later on tonight in Zone T many hours from now. But if you like what you've seen, join us in the broadcast here on Mixer. Thank you, Mixer chat. A little shout out to Selwyn, DK Mansuni, Chip. If I'm scrolling fast and I do have my glasses on, Lancerol. Thank you guys so much for joining. Mushroom 185. Thank you all for joining us in the chat. We really appreciate it. We love you cheering for the riders. They love to hear it. I try to shout it out when I can. So right now, we are going to wrap up this broadcast. We had Quentin on top, 0.5 points between Quentin and Ben, and then Neil's just a little bit further down. Highly contested there for the first race of the day in Week 5. And remember, if you like what you're seeing, if you want to give the game a try, CVRcade.com, download the game. You can play on your keyboard. And if you want to know what that keyboard even looks like, we do a Derny race on Thursday, same time, in 5 hours from now, where a physical rider pairs up with a non-physical rider, and they race as a team. And it's super awesome and exciting. And DK, you asked if I'm going to be out. Wim asked if I was going to be out, and I will be out on keyboard on Thursday, so you can see. Thanks, Chip. I will take that. Beth, you rock. Oh, thanks you. Oh, makes us feel good too. Jesper, thanks for joining in the chat and helping answer questions that I can't have two conversations going at once. From everyone at CVRcade, we will see you later on today. Jesper will be taking over on the comms. I'm Beth York, and we will see you next time.
But no, Beth York goes crashing down. Determination, the suffering, the ability to... And she's unleashed everything in this attack. See just how much that win means to him. All the marvels. Kayla versus Allison, and to the line. Kayla Laguna takes the victory.